In patch 5.06, Riot decided to buff a weapon that honestly didn't really need it. And a lot of people just go about their day and just completely ignore the fact that the Stinger is arguably the best weapon in the game. Oh, you don't believe me? Do you think I sound unreasonable? Well, you, my friends, are extremely mistaken. And by the end of this video, you too will get a ton more free kills, win a ton more Rico rounds, and join the Stinger hype train with me. Because this gun is busted. Let's get started. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Teets, this is stupid. The Stinger isn't that crazy. You're just fishing for content. Dislike. Well, here's TenZ trying out the Stinger when it first got buffed.
What? 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 This gun is insane now. What?
Now, you tell me with a straight face that this thing isn't busted. Sure, TenZ is one of the best players in the world, but do you know why people were begging for chamber nerfs? Because literally almost anyone could pick him up and get insane value out of him. And the Stinger is the same way. In that clip, TenZ is mowing down people who have 2,900 credit rifles, and he's using a 950 credit SMG. This is a small sample size, but you can't just sit there and tell me that this gun isn't insane. So in a second, we're going to show you how to use this weapon, just like TenZ was in that clip. But in case you want to learn how to use other high value weapons like the Sheriff, Marshal, or any other weapon that can literally turn the tide of the game, I recommend you check us out at SkillCapped. We have online courses built by Radiant level players who know this game in and out. So if you want to learn anything about this game, from map metas, agent specific courses, and not just weapons, we can rank you up. Now stop wasting your RR and check us out at SkillCapped. We'll be waiting. Okay, so what did Riot do to the Stinger to make it this busted? Did they give it aimbot? 50 bullets in his mag? A flamethrower attachment? I mean, no, that'd be cool. But instead what they did was increase its accuracy by a lot. Here are the patch notes from patch 5.06, the most recent Stinger buff. The primary fire error was adjusted from 1.6 error after 7 bullets to 1.3 error after 6 bullets. And the alt fire shot error adjusted from 0.5 to 0.35. So while this doesn't mean much on paper, just look at the changes for yourself. You can definitely tell that this laser beam got a ton more accurate. The thing is that the Stinger didn't need this change. So since the buff, the Stinger has been picking up more and more fans. But you might be asking yourself, why haven't I seen people using this weapon? All I see are Sheriffs and Spectres. Well, to answer this question, we need to look at the history of this weapon and how it's been changed from patch to patch. You Valorant veterans remember that the Stinger used to be extremely overpowered. Teams would consistently force Stingers whenever they are on an eco round and would have a decent chance at winning those low buy rounds. In patch 2.03, Riot tried to tune down its power with a list of changes, but it wasn't enough. This gun was still insane and required another nerf in patch 3.0. A lot of people thought that this nerf drove the Stinger into the ground. Everyone just assumed that the gun was dead, just like the Bucky. Everyone tried it out for a bit, realized that the gun wasn't the broken laser beam it once was, and wrote the gun off. The Sheriff, Spectre, and Marshal all spiked in popularity, and the Stinger was left in the dust. But what players failed to realize is that the gun was still stupid strong, especially at the new price at 950 credits. Riot noticed how little people were using the Stinger now, and thought that they had destroyed the weapon. So in patch 5.06, Riot gave it a small accuracy buff to see if that would help people pick this weapon back up. Little did they know is that this gun is now stupid good, and I actually think outclasses the Spectre. Hear me out. If you go over to the Valorant wiki page, you'll find all the stat values for both the Stinger and Spectre. Let's look specifically at the time to kill section. Do you notice anything? The Stinger consistently has a lower time to kill than the Spectre in almost every situation. The only one where the Stinger is outclassed is if the enemy has 150 HP and are 0 to 20 meters away. But here, the difference is only 0.05 seconds. And go ahead, tell me, how often do you only land headshots with the Spectre? You don't, or at least it's pretty rare. In a 1v1 duel, the Stinger comes out on top literally almost every time, and this gun costs 650 less credits. The stats themselves don't lie, and all of this evidence just goes to show that if you have to choose between a Stinger, Spectre, or a Sheriff, pick the Stinger. Alright, the Stinger is nuts, but how do you use this thing? What's the use of a sword if you don't know how to swing it? Well, it's actually harder than you think. You know how everyone tells you to have good crosshair placement, you have to put your crosshair at head level? Well, that's the opposite of the Stinger. In reality, the Stinger just has too much kick in order for you to control its recoil. It isn't a one-shot headshot, so you need to aim for the body and let the recoil naturally drag the gun up towards your opponent's head. This might be bothersome for you die-hard Sheriff players, as when I first started using the Stinger, I instinctively kept aiming for the head, but when I got used to aiming at the body, I was shredding kids. And this same tip applies for its ADS mode. When you aim down sight with this thing, it's a 4-round burst, but this is also hard to control. I recommend aiming for the body, but if you do get used to the recoil, you could aim for the head, it's just a bit harder. With some practice, you could definitely melt people. So, am I recommending that you drop every other eco weapon in the game and only buy the Stinger? No, that's a horrible idea. The Stinger, while really strong, still has its weaknesses. Just like on every other round in the game, you need to base your buy around your game plan for that round. And the area where the Stinger doesn't perform so well is when fighting more than one person. The Stinger only has 20 bullets in his magazine, and if you're facing a horde of people using classics, like an enemy eco round, all trying to run it down on you, you're going to get overwhelmed and die. Where the Stinger really shines is in 1v1 situations. You spray 80% of your mag into a guy, you have to stop and reload. This is similar to the op, where you have downtime before you can fire your next shot. So if you want a safer gun to use at a bit longer range that'll make sure you don't get overwhelmed or traded, you should use the Spectre. The Spectre is easier to land headshots with while having a big enough magazine to deal with more than one person. Or if you want to, I don't know, spray through a smoke, you need to keep in mind that enemies can see your bullets and can shoot back. But then again, I don't think spraying through a smoke with the Stinger is that effective. All it does is discourage enemies from running through the smoke since they know you have a close range weapon. Then they'll keep their distance and play back on sight when you go in for the retake. And the Sheriff still has its uses as well. Even though it's only 150 credits cheaper, sometimes it's all you can afford. This is especially true if that 150 means the difference between you being able to afford another piece of utility or full armor the next round. The payoff simply might not be worth it. Or if you're really feeling yourself and think you can land that 150 or 145 headshot, then the Sheriff is definitely the better choice. You could also use it at a much longer range, obviously. If you're playing on a map like Breeze or Icebox, the Sheriff is the more flexible weapon. And if you're playing at a really long range, the Marshal is going to be your best friend. This thing body shots for 100 damage and sets up your teammates for pretty easy kills. If the enemy's at full armor, they'll only have 50 HP left, and your teammates could finish them off with their low buy weapons, like a Sheriff or Stinger. A lot of high-ranking players get a ton of value out of this weapon because they land headshots consistently. And then there's the Judge 2, which you know is crazy. And there's also the Frenzy, which is pretty nice. The Classic can be insane. The Shorty can spiral out of control. You know, now that I think about it, just about every weapon is pretty decent, except the Bucky. But honestly, good job, right? But just know that while the Stinger, in my opinion, is the best eco buy weapon, it isn't ideal in every situation. Now let's see some more clips of this thing in action. In this first clip, watch how Hiko uses the close quarters nature of Bind to abuse the Stinger and change the tide of this round for his team.
That guy. Fight him. Kill 2.
Do you see how accurate this thing is? It doesn't matter if he's moving or if he's strafing. You can be pretty accurate with this thing and mow people down. Here's another example from that same game.
Later. Careful left, careful right, careful up, careful down. Grab orb off that. Okay. 4v3. Out heaven probably. Top box.
I don't know what to tell you guys. This gun speaks for itself. So hopefully I've opened your eyes as to why this gun is just stupidly good. For only 950 credits, you could make some serious plays with this thing, and you don't even need to have that great of mechanics to abuse it. Now next time you're on an eco round, or your team just wants to force, this gun should definitely give you some more confidence. This gun, I promise you, can win you rounds. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. But before you go, keep in mind that this is all just one of many in-depth guides that we have on our website. Also, if you want a chance at having your VOD reviewed, be sure to subscribe to our website at SkillCapped.com. We also have tons of Radiant Nerf commentaries. We have Radiant players walk you through exactly how to have the most impact possible in a bunch of different situations. So what are you waiting for? You literally have nothing to lose. Head on over to SkillCapped.com and get started on your way to that rank that you deserve. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm TenZ, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.